Oh, hey guys, this is Jonathan McCormack. I'm an attachment specialist in New York, and you can find me at attachmenthealinghelp.com. I just have a few moments here, so I want to talk about the 5 things that account for secure attachment. And these are 5 things that you need when you're a child to develop the ability to securely attach. And these 5 things you're actually going to practice as an adult. You learn about them as a kid, though. So the first one is a sense of felt safety. The child has to feel safe, feel it, not just know it. And this is promoted by the parents being consistent and reliable. Also, the parents have to be able to protect the child from danger and threat. And the child has to know that. The child has to know, like, I'm safe here. The second one is a sense of being seen and known. And we all want to be seen. We all want to be known. You know you're seen and known when the parents are attuned to you. You know, your reactions get a proper reaction from them. They mirror you, and you learn about yourself, you know. The third one is an experience of felt comfort. And that's promoted by the parent's ability to soothe and reassure the child. When the child starts getting upset, the nervous system, you know, the parents kind of soothe, take them down. You know, they know what to do, and the child responds to that. The fourth is being valued, and that's promoted by the parents expressing delight in the child. You've seen, like, parents, there's like delighted, they see the little kid walking around. And the fifth one is a sense of support. And support happens when, you know, your parents allow you to explore, and they kind of have your back, you know, they're watching you. So when you grow up, though, those are the 5 things you practice. As an adult, those are the 5 things your relationship needs as well. Think about it. Safety, right? If I were to ask you, if you're in a relationship now, or you have been in one, what were the things that your partner needed to feel safe? I mean, could you answer specifically? And what are the things that you need to feel safe? A lot of people have never even asked that. They don't know what they want, what they really need to feel safe. Even more important, have you articulated and spoken out loud to your partner what you need to feel safe? You know? It's not just that. It's telling them and letting them know. The second one, being seen and known. You have to feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable so someone can actually see you, see the real you. Because if you're always pretending to be someone, or you're afraid your partner won't like you, even if you're around them all the time, they really don't know you, and you'll know this isn't authentic. It won't feel like they see you because they don't see you, because you're always hidden. That's very much about attunement. That's very much like you guys being on the same wavelength. You get each other, you know. The third one's felt comfort, which is interesting. It has to do with soothing, you know. But what that really is about is emotional regulation. So you've seen, like, if it's a little kid, you see little kid's with his mother, runs into the playground, and he's playing around everything, and all of a sudden his nervous system gets a little frightened, a little overstimulated, runs back to mom, just touches her lap. Ooh, secure base. And then goes back out. Exact same thing with us. We go in the world, we go into work, we deal with all these crazy things, and then we come home stressed, and we're with someone. Can they emotionally regulate us? So one of the things I always ask, if you're with someone, forget about, do you feel love? Do you feel excitement? Do you feel the tension? Do you feel emotionally regulated around this person? You know, do you feel calm? Can they hold a space for you? And do they emotionally regulate you? both have to be there. If only one of you gets emotionally regulated, it's not going to work. That happens with avoidance a lot. Avoidance will not allow themselves to be emotionally regulated. They will not allow themselves to be soothed. So you have to practice not just soothing, but allowing yourself to be soothed, allowing yourself to be regulated. The other big thing that happens with couples is, this happens with men a lot. You see these guys, they like to get soothed in a certain way, whatever way that is. I knew a guy who, he loved vacations. That's how he got soothed. That's how he relaxed. His wife didn't get soothed that way. That's not how she wanted to be emotionally regulated. So what he did, the vacations, and that didn't work. She's still complaining. So then he would just have bigger vacations, and then bigger vacations. Vacations were stressful for her. He just didn't get in his head that you have to be able to emotionally regulate that person how they want to be regulated. And it's funny, I hear guys all the time, just trying to do things for their wives and making these huge efforts, and then getting resentful, like, well, she didn't even react. I did this to her, that to her. Those things aren't helping her, So you have to find someone, you have to emotionally regulate each other, and also find that you can attune to the person to know when and how to do it. The fourth one is being valued. And a lot of this, but it's mostly in being delighted. And this is huge. You see parents get delighted by their kids. A lot of people with attachment problems, they can be delighted by their dog. They love their dog. But a person, and a lot of people have trouble being delighted in. That's huge. Low self-esteem, low confidence. I'm not delightful. Who would consider me delightful? What are you going to delight me in for? I don't have anything. This is so big. A friend of mine broke up with this girl, 3 years. It was like suicidal. And you know what happens? It's like with trauma, the worst thing gets blown up in our memories, and that's all we remember. With relationships, it's the opposite. The best things get blown up. That's all we remember. We forget about all those other times. But I asked him, what do you miss about it? Like, what's the big time? And the big time was like his third date, even though they're together 3 years. And he came to the museum, and he's walking, and he sees her across the parking lot, and she sees him, and goes, and gets excited. Oh, wow, it's him. And he's like, oh, someone's excited to see me, and just that lit him up, and he's remembered that charge, just being delighted in. Now he could never let her delight in him, but just that feeling of being delighted, like, I just find you delightful. There's so many things about you, and especially you have to. But okay, so if I were to ask you, like, can you be delighted in? How do you let yourself be delighted in by your partner specifically? How do you delight in them? But also, do you tell them? I just love when you do this thing or that thing. It's so delightful, so you smile. Yeah, at the beginning. But can you, as time goes on, find different ways to delight in that person? It's something you have to practice. It doesn't just happen. For some people, sure, but for other people, they have to practice, a bunch of ways to practice this. I do the 3-pillar method with people. First pillar, collaboration, The second pillar is mentalization, thinking about how we're thinking. Third pillar is something called the ideal parent figure protocol. It's kind of like when you go back and you imagine experiencing these things as a child, experience being delighted in, being soothed, feeling safe, and it gets those neuronal patterns online. It's kind of like a gymnasium, your imagination. You're practicing. Little kids, what do? They pretend. And that's what you're doing, to pretend and to get practice how to do these things. It's a great practice, but you kind of need someone to do it with often. And then the felt sense of support is the fifth thing. Do you really feel that you support your partner? And if so, how? How exactly do you show that you support them? Men, women want love, men want respect. Men, one other thing or two. But I I have friends who used to joke about that. Then they get married, like, wow, this respect is so important. It's so important she respects me. And women have no idea of the turmoil that a man will go through because he doesn't feel respected. Because if you don't respect him, he feels he's doing something wrong. He screwed up again. He can't do anything right. But if that respect is there, that basic respect, then he can take criticism and he can understand, But that respect has to be there and that support. Those are things to practice. But if you want to find security, where would you look for? It may surprise you, but the last place I would tell you to look for security is probably in a relationship. That's probably the least secure place you can go. I mean, think about it. You've heard of music? Yeah, it's on the radio sometimes. Half the songs are about breaking up. And then the other half are about starting a new relationship, which means they just broke up before. And this is a huge stuckness, this idea that relationships must be permanent, they must last, and they're only valuable if they last. If it lasted 2 years, that was a failure. If it lasts 40 years, but you're miserable together, that's a success. Yeah, that's a big success. But the truth is, what's real? I don't even like the word relationship. I think of connection. And even in those 2 years, there were moments where you were connected. Your heart was connected to them, and you felt that, hopefully. That doesn't go away. That's forever. You always have that, And it's that connection I'm talking about. The reason this is a stuckness, though, is because the quest for romantic security, it actually acts against itself, because trying to make romance secure makes it less secure. If you're always trying to make things secure, you're probably going to put too much pressure on things. There's probably not going to be enough breathing room. If you're towards the anxious part, you're probably really going to pressure that person, and he's going to move away. If you're the jealous type, she's not going to like that. The more, there has to be bounds when but the more and more you force it to be secure, the more difficult it gets. And I get it. Listen, 100 years ago, we had societies, and they had people together. That's for good and bad. It was good because it kept people together. Bad because it kept people together when they should not have been. So there's good and bad things about it. I'm not making a judgment. I'm just saying now it's really hard to stay together. That's just the best thing you can do to secure that relationship is not to force security, not to pursue it as secure, but rather look for connections day to day, day to day. And if you do that, that's actually more likely to lead to a secure long-term relationship. So where would I look for security? I would look for security inside, a secure attachment with myself. Everyone has different words for it. Jungians have the big self or the true self. IFS, Internal Family System, says of the self. What is it? It's just something that's very curious, very playful, very compassionate. And if you're in touch with this, you're really not lonely because it has this other energy, and you're secure with yourself. If you want to talk about parts, all right, fine, you have a lot of parts, and this self-energy can be compassionate. How often are you compassionate to yourself? I got to tell you, in this world, not a lot of people are going to do it for you. And even if they do, you're still going to need to be compassionate to yourself and to other people. And the only way you do that is getting in touch with this. And it's inside. Everyone has it inside. Everyone has it inside. you just have to get in touch with it. It can be difficult, I know, especially with the way we've lived in our life. But that is a lot more secure, because they'll always be there. And there are spiritual people and religious people that say inside is a light, inside is a spark of divinity, this, that, the other thing. That's above my pay grade. But these people I know do get in touch with something, and it seems to give them that peace. And that way, you don't need a relationship. And that means you're not going to put this crazy pressure on it. That means when you give, it'll be giving. It won't just be taking. And whenever you get into a relationship, especially men, I always say, like, what are you trying to give? What are you trying to share with her? Yeah, I'd be like, share. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get that. I'm lonely. Well, if it's coming out of a place of need, boy, it's hard to make work. If it's coming out of a place of giving, of fullness, I have so much fullness. I just want to give to someone else, because I have enough myself. That is much better to do. And it's interesting. There's something called SPANE, SPANE, the scale of positive and negative experiences. Someone's just telling me this. I have to look into it. But they're saying, as far as positive emotions go, love is not the most positive emotion when you're feeling loved and loving. According to them, it was authenticity. There's times when you're just like your true self. I do some artwork, and when I'm drawing, this is me, this is who I am. Or when you're on stage, or doing your hobby, whatever. It's just like, this is me, this is who I am. That authenticity gives more positive emotion than love, and obviously it's all combined. There's a lot more I could say about it, but those are the 5 things you need, and you need to actually practice them. Hey, if you grow up with them, that is great. God bless you. A lot of us didn't. A lot of us actually have to practice and remember to delight in people. And I gotta tell you, like, men are like dogs. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like I told this guy, I was just saying, like, well, touch is important. I was giving these statistics, and you need to, if a woman gets touched 7 times a day, her anxiety levels go down. I was just mentioning that. And so, like, the next week, I was like, how's it going? He's like, it was pretty good. But he told me, like, every day he literally goes to his wife and he starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 7 strokes, Okay, it worked. You got to start somewhere. But you have to know these things. He didn't even know that. He's like, touch helps. He's not a touchy-feely guy. You had to learn, And so those are the 5 things you want: secure attachment. But if you really want a secure attachment, I would suggest you practice those 5 things in yourself. I actually asked a woman, I said, like, what do you delight in yourself? What do you find just delightful about you? Of course, she was like bright red, couldn't answer. Could you? And could you allow yourself to delight in yourself? I would apply these 5 things to myself. It's an inside job. But anyway, I'll put out some more videos. You can find me at attachmenthealinghelp.com. Jonathan McCormack. Thanks.